On the surface, Kazuma and Ayano would have their hands full as they entered into a deadly battle against both Dominic and Kureha Suwabuki. For Kazuma, fighting against a powerful member of the Suwabuki clan, one whose mastery over earth magic had gone to the point where he could cause seismic earthquakes with just a stomp of his foot, was nothing short of impressive. As Kazuma would launch his ice-like constructs towards his assailant, he had the ability to vibrate the very ground that the ice protruded from, causing it to disintegrate and break into a fine powder, even sending out powerful shockwaves to counter the ice. All while Ayano would battle in the skies against Kureha, as she used a form of anti-gravity magic, which was the evolution of earth magic. In the underground, Ren had grabbed hold of Ayumi, but turned to see that Mayumi was still stuck in the crystal. Of course, Ren knew that freeing her would likely mean freeing the beast as well, but he was counting on it. With a few slashes causing fiery singe to burn away at the crystal, Mayumi would be freed, and together the trio would make their way to the surface. As they did, they came across a man that was encased in stone. Ayumi would recognize who it was, the true leader of the Suwabuki family. With his dying words, he would reveal to them the truth as they looked down below at the top of the compound, the ground beneath them beginning to rumble, and Mount Fuji was set to explode. Kureha would continue her assault against Ayano, and as for Kazuma, he continued on in his fight against Dominic. The battle had seemed to come to a standstill before Ren would show up, Kureha looking worried that her prized sacrifices were attempting to get away. "I will not allow you to stop us. The ceremony will go on and—" "I don't think so," Ren said. "The ceremony? All of this ends tonight." "And how exactly do you figure?" Dominic would ask. "Because I'm going to kill the beast." "You're going to what?" Kureha said. Kazuma would pick up on her expressions. Ayumi would stand beside Ren. "I believe he can. If we all work together, we can just silence you. As if you have a say in the matter. There is only one way to maintain the balance. This is the true duty of the Suwabuki family, what we have strived for over 300 years. I will not allow that sacrifice to go to waste, all on the whims of a child who believes he can do the impossible and—" "Who exactly are you trying to fool here, lady?" "What?" Kazuma spoke up amongst the group. As Ren would explain to everyone what was going on, for Kazuma it all became clear. "You keep prattling on with this speech about family and tradition, but really, you don't care about any of that, do you?" "No, that's not the real you, Kureha. You've been using the beast power. We can all feel it from your aura. It's tainted and vile." "Yeah, it felt similar to Yuji. But there's a difference. Yuji was imbued with the beast power, and he transformed into a monster. She's doing the exact same thing, and yet look at her. She's perfectly fine. And I wonder why that is. What are you getting at? Even if it were true, it's obvious that no, you're not. Don't even lie for a single second and say that you're stronger than Yuji. Based on your performance, I would beg to differ." "What are you talking about?" Ren would ask. "Remember Misao? Remember the technique that she used to draw on the power of her victims, but how ultimately she could do little with it? Because she wasn't strong enough to handle all that power, she could only use what she could use," Ayano would say. Same principle applies here. Miss Kureha is no more stronger than Yuji. In fact, I'd venture to say that Yuji is stronger. Hell, your underling Dominic here is even stronger than you. But you know that already. So that begs to differ. If you've been drawing on the beast power for all these years, why exactly have you not transformed? You're no better than anyone else in your family, right? Slowly but surely, the pieces were starting to come together, with more and more sinister undertone if the truth were to be believed. You've been used by the beast from the very beginning. It's been controlling you, warping your actions to do its will. You're not in control of the beast. The beast is in control of you. But I wonder, Kazuma would say, why exactly would the beast want to use you? What makes you so special? In fact, you're not that special at all. You don't know a damn thing about me, Kureha said. I was ostracized because I was different among the Suabukis. Because I had no skill of practicing the family magic. I was treated like I was different. You couldn't use your family's magic. Does that mean she's just like you? Ayano said, looking at Kazuma. Yep. I'm not so much of a special case now, am I? We've all got our own struggles that we have to bear. It's not uncommon from time to time that a clan of elemental magic users give birth to a black sheep, or in this case, a dud. That's what you were. But unlike my clan, that was only filled with a lot of jackasses, you had the misfortune of being ostracized by your family. Or at least that's what you think. Wake up, Kureha, Kazuma said. The beast was toying with your mind. That's what it was doing. It made you believe that you had no one. It made you believe that you were separated. When you felt like you had nothing in this world, you had the beast. I'm guessing it called out to you at a young age. At a time when you felt like there was no one in the world that could understand you. The beast gave you power, great power. And suddenly you could do anything. And you drew on the beast power more and more and more. Because you believed it was going to make you stronger. But that's what it wants you to think. You're just its medium. You're the conduit that will allow the beast to resurface. But that can't be. If that's true, then that means that everything I've ever known is a lie. It would mean that I betrayed my family, that my slights, my grievances meant nothing. No, I refuse to accept that. I refuse to believe that my actions were anything but my own. I never said they weren't. No, you're responsible for all the messed up crap that you did. All I'm saying is that you were under the influence. More so, you could say that you were drunk. But being drunk is no excuse, because when you're drunk, you say and do all the things you wouldn't do when you were sober. You got drunk off the beast power. The beast power enabled you. It made you feel like you were invincible, like you were untouchable. That's how you were able to enact your plans, because you felt like there was no one that could challenge you. Not as long as you had the beast, right? Kureha would start to go into a tailspin as Dominic went to her side. If all of this were true, then it meant the Suabuki family had suffered dearly. But what else could they do now? As Mount Fuji would slowly begin to erupt, the screams of the beast, a dragon with scales of green, would start to emerge, its roars deafening. Oh no, Ayumi would say. The legendary dragon Fing Fang Foom is now beginning to stir from its slumber, Kazuma said. The ice spirits were starting to summon all around him, his eyes glowing as he entered into his next stage. What are you doing? Ayano would ask. I'm going to try to slow this damn thing down. Ren, if you were really serious about taking it out, well, now's your chance. Remember the gift I gave you, Kazuma said. Don't waste it. Right. Ayumi would hold on to Ren's hand as she looked into his eyes. Her eyes filled with a strong sense of hope, and even though, in the midst of her fears, she felt Ren's warmth, a warmth that had enveloped her all this time, a warmth that she could believe in. I promise you, Ayumi, everything will be all right. I'm going to end this. You've got backup, Ren, Ayano would say as she summoned forth in Raiha. Kureha was held by a thin string. Her mental fortitude were all but shattered in the encompassing size of Fing Fang Foom as he was slowly emerging from the top of Mount Fuji. Dominic, standing by her side, would attempt to hold her up. Lady, my lady, it can't be. Everything, it's all I've... There's no time to think about such things. Right now, our only focus is stopping the beast once and for all. But why bother? There's no point in just... Dominic would slap Kureha in the face. Right now, you don't get to decide that. The Suwabuki way, the way of stone, to be steadfast, immovable. That is the spirit that our family was founded on. This fight started 300 years ago. And if you ask me, it's been 300 years too long. We gave in to cowardice. We sealed it away. We sacrificed our family. And for what? All of this, just for it to end now. We should have killed it. We should have kept fighting. Even if it came down to the last of our family. Even if it meant that our whole clan would be eradicated. At least we would be remembered as warriors. Not as cowards who hide behind tradition. You speak so nobly, and you act as though you are not a killer. I accept what I am, and I accept the things that I have done. But the one thing that I cannot and will not do is back down. When I fought that boy, he had a spirit inside of him, a fire that I don't know if I could ever match. But if I can match anything, it's my resolve to his own. He continued to fight, even when he gave way to unconsciousness. His body still stood, even when his mind had long since left him. The scars that ridicule my body, they are scars that will be ingrained in me forever. Because I met a fighting spirit as powerful as my own. I am more than just a servant of the Suwabuki. I am my own man. And when I die, I will die in the way that I see fit. Dominic would follow behind Ayano and Ren. I'll back you up. The two of them nodded together as Kazuma would enter into his absolute zero. As he stomped his foot onto the ground, the entire mountainside would be covered in frost. The magma that was beginning to spew would slow its pace. Not entirely. It felt as though the dead of winter had now befallen Mount Fuji. Kazuma couldn't hold this form forever. Absolute Zero was a last resort, exerting his power to the limit. But he could slow it down, long enough for the others to take their shots. As Dominic and Ayano would charge towards Fin Fang Foom as it slowly ascended into the sky, launching powerful concentrated strikes of shock waves and fire, Ren held on to the crystal that had been given to him by his brother. He wasn't sure what it would do exactly, but he felt like he had to put faith into it. He allowed for the fire to consume his skin. As he changed, he would transform into something entirely different. His whole body was enveloped in black, as the aura of the sun's flames would form around him, his eyes giving a golden glow. He remembered this transformation, one that he couldn't control before, but that he had to give into now. In his hands, the crystal would disintegrate, but an aura would shroud itself around him, a cooling aura to counteract the transformation, allowing him to fight at full capacity, however brief. For Ayumi, she got a chance to see what Ren had done. This transformation that he had taken, it wasn't like anything she could have ever fathomed. It felt like she was in the presence of the sun itself as he looked back towards her. It'll be okay. I know it will. I believe in you, Ren. With a nod, he would fly into the air, matching to the heights of Fin Fang Foom as he began to rain down his acidic combustible breath. The moment that Ayano's flames made contact with the mist, it would cause a chain reaction of explosions, knocking both her and Dominic back. Kazuma continuing to use Absolute Zero, concentrating all of his ice magic on Fin Fang Foom. It would slow him down just enough to give them a chance. It's all on you, Ren. You have to finish this. I hate to put this all on you, to put everything on your shoulders. But right now, you're the only one that can stop that thing. So give it all you got. Ren would rise into the air to face against the beast. A beast that only knew violence and destruction, whose power came from the sacrifice of others. For Ren, the beast was the embodiment of everything that was evil, everything that was wrong with this world. It was the beast that would cause the suffering of those whom he loved most. And for that, he could not forgive. I can tell that you're strong. You've existed for over 300 years. You probably thought that no one could ever kill you. Well, I'm here to prove you wrong. You're going to die, Foom, and you'll die at my hands. Ren would unleash a powerful torrent of fire that was matched from the flaming breath of Fin Fang Foom. As their power would collide with each other, Ren could feel the intensity of the monstrous spirit beast. A beast that was fed on the hundreds upon hundreds of Suabukis that was sacrificed to it. Kureha would watch on from a distance as both Dominic and Ayano, along with Kazuma, would continue their fight against Foom. The beast that had caused her so much pain. The beast that had been her ire for so long. She could never be forgiven for what she had done. For someone like her, there could be no redemption. And yet that spirit spurred her on. Even as she was shaking, she continued to stand. This boy who she'd barely known, this boy who less than 24 hours ago didn't know anything about this, and yet his conviction was unwavering. He showed more fight. He enveloped more of the spirit of the Suwabuki than she ever could. In his time of agony, he didn't run. He didn't flinch away like she had. She remembered how she was ostracized, how she was treated differently from the others. And yet, she could not find her strength. She couldn't find the strength to fight, the strength to stand on her own. She couldn't. But yet this boy could. He was putting everything on the line. She looked to Ayumi, the girl looking up at Ren desperately. The more she looked at her, the more she saw it in that girl's eyes. The very thing that she treated as not even human, and yet the emotions that were conveyed in her eyes, they couldn't be deceit. She saw the look of someone that had faith, confidence, and hope. A girl who had been treated like less than nothing. A girl that was treated like nothing more but an object to be discarded. And yet now there was a vigor within her, one that could not be ignored. For Kureha, she envied that look. She wished she could have it. That she could even have a monicum of what Ayumi had. Perhaps that wasn't meant for her. Someone like her could never find hope. But she could still play a role in all of this. As Ren continued fighting against the beast, he had been knocked to the ground. Ayano and Dominic would attempt to interfere, but they too would be swatted aside. As Fing Fang Foom looked down at Ren, he was ready to squash him under his claws. But as he raised his fist into the air, multiple earth spikes would protrude from the ground, stabbing at him. The earthen columns, creating themselves so high, they reached even to his wings. Multiple boulders beginning to slam down on top of him, knocking him further and further to the ground, as if he were being buried alive. They turned to see that it was Kureha. Kureha was using the power that the beast had given her against it. I won't let you get away with what you've done. If I must go to hell, then I will take you with me. I will unleash all of my pain, everything that I feel in my heart. You'll experience all of it, every moment. The beast would yell out as it broke free of its restraints, only for Kureha to rain down more. Are you hurting? Good. That's only a monicum of what I felt. But now I know. All of this pain, all of my hate, I'll take it out on you. Kureha poured everything she had into this attack. But sadly, it wasn't enough. Kureha would be attacked by Fing Fang Foom. Her last moments she spent putting up a fight, creating an opening. Ayano, Ren called out to her. I need you to shoot me with Enraiha. You want me to what? Shoot in Raiha at me. I don't need much, just a little bit of fire. Ren, if I do that, don't hold back. Hit me with everything you've got. But Ren, I just do it. Fine. You better not die on me, damn it! In Raiha, come forth! And Raiha would shoot a blast of fire towards Ren. Dominic would hold on to Kureha's body, as now Kazuma would create the opening. I'll slow it down for as much as I can. Ayano, buy Ren some time. What do you think I've been doing, you jerk? When this is over, I am going to hurt your wallet. Ren held on to the flame of Enraiha as he fueled it with his own fire, his hand like an open palm as he slowly closed it, closing the fire, causing it to condense. That's what I can do. I have to create it. Ren would close his fist tighter and tighter. To the average person, it looked like he was squeezing the air and that he was struggling with it. But really, he was condensing the fire, condensing the power to its smallest point to create a powerful blast. If I can shrink it down, I can fuel it. A fire that eats at itself and gets stronger. That's it. Keep compressing. Keep compressing. Like the density of the sun. Kazuma would continue to compress the fireball until finally he had compressed it to its absolute max. As he turned to Fing Fang Foom, his tail swatting away at both Dominic and Ayano. And with Kazuma, his ice barrier finally being broken, Ren would raise his hand into the sky, pointing the compressed ball of fire towards him. This is my power. The true power of the sun. Here. Have it! Ren would shoot the compressed fireball towards Fing Fang Foom, the fireball pelting itself deep into the beast's chest, as he would finally release his hands and unleash the compressed power of the fire of Imraya. It began to burn away and incinerate in Fing Fang Foom on the inside, the beast howling in pain as it collapsed to the ground. But it was still alive. For Ren, he felt himself at his limit, and so was Kazuma. Everyone didn't have anything else left to give, and yet the beast, even in its agonizing pain, it was still standing. Just then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, suddenly, Ren, Dominic, who was holding Kureha, and Ayano, they felt something grab onto them, and then just as quickly they were all yanked away. What the? Ayano saw that it was webs that had pulled her away. She saw that there was a boy who had webbing coming out of his wrist, and he seemingly had yanked all of them back. Take the shot, Gojo! The boy in the black mask would yell, the emblem of a spider marked on his chest. Hollow purple. Instantly, a large purple-like ball of energy would shoot itself towards the inflamed Fing Fang Foom, consuming and destroying him once and for all. The man who had fired off that technique, dressed in all black with hair as white as snow and with black bandages across his eyes. He looked down towards the group as he gave a thumbs up and a smile. Good job, Miles. You managed to yank all of them out of the blast range. Impressive. Yeah, thanks. Is the thing dead for good? Yep. Won't have to worry about him coming back ever again. Seriously, though, if I had been born just a few years earlier, I probably could have killed him before we had to go through all this. As Kazuma transformed back into his regular state and slowly rejoined the others, he recognized that messy white hair and the outfit of all black. I don't believe it. Satoru Gojo. Ah, so you know of me. Mr. Yagami. Ayano was at a loss for words. You're the, Gojo, your name's you don't mind her. What are you doing here? Well, I wasn't here, actually. I felt this strong presence of energy, and I came this way. Thought I was going to be dealing with a powerful cursed spirit, and, well, it's a beast spirit. So, all in a day's work, I guess. You say that like it was nothing. We were fighting for our lives, you know. Yeah, I can see. You got worked over, son. And they say that you're pretty powerful. Ice magic user. Well, what do I expect from a member of the Gojo clan? So, this is the famed place of the Suwabukis. Or at least what's left of them. Ren would then move to Ayumi as she collapsed. She fell into his arms as she was growing weaker. That's where our treasure is, the pixie said. It's inside of her. That's what they use to create an artificial clone. Clones are usually supposed to grow 1 year at a time, but they sped up her process. This was probably the work of Kureha. I see, Gojo said. Not every day the pixie folk come around. And it's not every day you get to meet someone who's the inheritor of the Six Eyes. I don't think I've been in contact since the last user of the Six Eyes. Wait, you knew my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather? Gojo said. Although his name kind of escapes me, though. It's been a long time since I've met someone with that technique. It's nice to meet ya. I'm Tina the Pixie. Satoru Gojo. So, what seems to be the problem with your friend here? She's an artificial clone. She was made from the egg of the next Pixie King. Or Chief, to be more specific. She's not gonna last very long. This is troublesome. If you remove the egg, she doesn't have an energy source. She'll crumble away into nothing. Can we do anything? Please, Ren said. I'll do whatever it takes. Please, we have to save her. Hey, Ice Boy, you got any ice left in you? What? I need you to freeze her body. Why? Do you want to save her or not? How much is this going to cost? Oh, come on now. I'm nothing like you. Can't a guy do something out of the kindness of his heart? You want something. Well, I didn't say I wasn't going to be compensated. I think I'll take the Suwabukis. What? The clan's all but destroyed now, whoever's left anyway. They no longer have the power or the standing that they used to have. So why not? I'll just absorb them into the Gojo family, and the Suwabuki clan can serve under my clan. If you ask me, it's a great honor. And it's a lot better than trying to fend for yourselves. If word gets around about what's happened, if the Suwabukis have enemies, and you know they do, they'll come here to finish the job. At least if they're under the protection of the Gojo clan, it'll be a lot smoother. Won't be a whole lot to worry about. Don't you agree? I can't say you're wrong. So, who's actually in charge? Gojo would ask. That would be me, Mayumi said as she stood forward. Technically speaking, I'm the one that's in charge of the clan now, and I agree to your terms. So quickly? Ayano would say. It's not like we have much of a choice. I don't know the first thing about running a clan. I'm not overly powerful, and I'll need all the help I can get. If this will be a lot easier on everyone else, I'd be a fool not to take it. So please, allow the Suwabukis to enter into your service. Gojo would agree to the terms, and just like that, the once proud and mighty Suwabuki clan had now been absorbed, subservient to the Gojo clan. Of course, for Kazuma, he wasn't really much fond of situations like this, the idea of a clan taking over another clan, but in this case, it was kind of warranted. The Suwabukis, for everything they had done, it was fine for them to be in this state. At least they would survive. For Ayumi, before she were to be separated, Ren would take his final moments to speak to her. I'm sorry, Ren would say. I wish I had done more. I know I could have. You've done more than enough, Ren. You saved me. You gave me something I thought I would never have. I'm not sure what awaits me, but I promise I'll see you again. No matter how long it takes, I'll be waiting for you. I promise. The two would share a tender and passionate kiss. It wasn't long, and in fact, it was a little awkward, but still, it was genuine. As she pulled away from him and caressed his cheek for a final time, she would allow for the pixie egg to be pulled from her body, but before she could disintegrate, Kazuma would freeze her body over in ice. That should hold for a while, Kazuma said. But what plan do you have for her exactly? I know some powerful people. All we have to do is find a way to stabilize her, and she'll be good as new. Granted, I don't have the most experience with cloning, but I can get her in the right hands. She'll be safe. Oh, this is my student. Miles, introduce yourself. Yeah. Miles would take off his mask and reveal himself to the group. He was just a regular kid. Although why he felt the need to wear a mask, they weren't entirely sure, but it was cool though. It's just a thing that gives me confidence when I fight and all, and I don't want people knowing who I am, really. It's a way of being inconspicuous and things of that nature. But wouldn't you be more conspicuous wearing a mask? Ayano said. You know, I say the same thing, but I walk around with a blindfold, so it is what it is, Gojo said. As he and Miles were preparing to take their leave, Ayano, Ren, and Kazuma couldn't help but sense something within him. You felt it too, right? Ayano said. Yeah. It's something sinister. You don't know the half of it, Kazuma said. Time would pass. It was an early morning in October, as Ren was sitting on the beach, still thinking about his time, however brief it were, with Ayumi. He hadn't heard from her since that fateful night when she was taken away by Gojo. Of course, Kazuma would give him an update if anything changed, And Gojo promised that when she was well, he would allow her to be seen again. But still, the waiting is what made him most anxious. Even in the midst of the cold, he wasn't bothered all that much. After all, he was a fire magic user. Kazuma would be sitting next to him as he arrived. "You don't need to wear a coat?" Ren would ask. "Oh yeah, ice magic. It has its advantages. I don't boil during the summer, and during the cold, I can wear casual and not have to worry about freezing my ass off. Must be nice. You're still worried about her, aren't you?" "Of course. I don't know ultimately what's going to happen to her. I just hope that she's okay." "What do you know about that Gojo guy? Do you think we can trust him?" "Well, from what I've seen, he's said to have a couple of screws loose, but when you're a curse magic user, what do you expect? But still, he's on the straight and narrow. You can trust him, Ren. When the time comes, you'll see Ayumi, and she'll be all happier to see you. You saved her. You gave her a chance at life. For however brief it was, you have formed a bond that can't be broken. So treasure that bond. I want to get stronger. We got lucky this time, but what happens if there's another powerful being, someone else that we'll have to face? I don't ever want to be in that position again. I know it's selfish and greedy, but I want to defeat my enemies and protect the people I care about. I don't want to sacrifice." "There's nothing wrong with being greedy, Ren. If that's truly what you desire, then that's what you should aim for. You only get one shot at life. At least that's what people say. So you should make the most of it. If you want to get stronger, then get stronger. If you want to protect those who are closest to you, then protect them with all of your might. And if you don't want to sacrifice anything, then that deal should never be on the table. But above all else," Kazuma pointed to his chest, "don't ever change what's in here. Above all else, never change that about yourself, Ren. And if you do, then I promise you won't go wrong." "Thanks, Kazuma. I appreciate it. So, what are you doing today?" "Well, I'm supposed to be meeting Ayano. Some sort of function that's going on, and I'm supposed to be her escort." "A function? Where?" Ren would ask out of curiosity. "It's in Shibuya." This concludes Kaze no Stigma, Stigma of Winter, with Kazuma was Iceman, Season 1, Part 7, the Season 1 finale. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone for all of your support with this series in particular. My first time doing Kaze no Stigma, and I wasn't sure how you guys were going to take to me doing a series that many people would say is more obscure than anything else. But the fact that you guys were rocking with this series, that you guys were into it, it tells me that maybe I can start doing more stories that aren't necessarily in the more mainstream. But, I'll just take it case by case and see how much you enjoy it. But all in all, I had a lot of fun doing this series. As far as how long it's going to be, I want this series to be about 3 or 4 seasons in total. So with Season 1 being a success, I can confirm that we will be doing Season 2. Also, keep in mind, this series is based off of a light novel and manga series that is ultimately incomplete. So if I ever do reach that point, I'm basically going to have to fill in the story myself and wrap it all up when that time comes. But all in all, I would gauge that I want this series to be between 3-4 seasons max at the most, just to kind of give it that finale to it, as it is connected to the Defender verse of the anime Marvel universe. So that's just something to keep in mind as we move forward. But anyway, what's coming up next? Well, tomorrow we are going to be doing a special upload. I'm going to be uploading the openings for the next series that I'm going to be doing. And then on Thursday, we're going to start with our new stories. But anywho, that's going to do it for the end of today and the end of this series. And like I say, thank you for your support. I can't do it without you. You make the channel grow. You make the core grow. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.